Okay, open it. Oh, it's so good.
Ooh.
It's a brass. Okay.
Look at that. Ah, beautiful.
Oh, it's very nice.
Okay, now I need to find a spoon. This, everybody, is macapono. And you can see in there, there is no water in this coconut. It is full of gel. This is a very, very rare and interesting fruit that I've been wanting to find for a really, really long time. And I finally got my hands on it. So I'm in Manila right now, in the Philippines, and I came here with just one thing to find, this. And the first place I looked, I literally got off the plane, got into a cab, and then went to a farmer's market. I walked through the entrance of the farmer's market, and it is the first thing that I see. These are rare. These are really hard to find. Even a lot of people who live here have not had this. There are a lot of things that use this. There are a macapono that you can get in a jar. You can get certain sorts of sweets that use this, but getting the actual fresh fruit is really hard to find. I got really, really lucky. I don't have a lot of times. I actually was pretty much expecting that I wouldn't find this, but literally the first place I go to, the first thing that I see is this one right here. So I'm really excited. I really want to dig into this, but I want to take one quick moment, just tell you what the hell this is. This is what you call a sport. A sport in botanical terms is a naturally occurring mutation. So a white currant, for instance, is a sport. It's a sport of a red currant, and they taste different. They're completely different, but because of that mutation, there is a different sort of appearance to it, and often different sorts of texture and flavor as well. In the case of the macapono, this is a mutation of the coconut where instead of being full of water, it is full of a gel. There is more meat to it, it is more jelly-like, and these do not germinate. So this is not the same thing as a sprouted coconut. If you let a coconut sprout, it will form a small, styrofoam-like apple on the inside. This isn't that. This is so wild. Look at that. Instead of water, it is filled with jelly. So cool. Okay, I'm gonna start with trying some of this jelly here. Wow. That's really strange. That's really strange. In a good way. In a really good way. It's got the texture of honey. It's very thick, and it's not like a jam. It kind of coats your mouth when you're eating it. I know the comments are going to have a field day with this, but it's true. The flavor of it is not really much different than straight up coconut water. It's actually fairly mild. I'd say the sweetness of this is like a 2 out of 10 or something. I think a normal coconut would typically be a little bit higher. Okay, so next, let's try some of this meat. Yeah, it's much softer than a regular coconut. The textures are just out of this world. There's something so completely different. The meat on the outside is not like the meat of a regular coconut. And it's not like a young coconut either. It's not soft. It's dense. It has a nice chew to it. And having the gel on the inside with some of the kernel that's more on the outside is kind of nice. They go well together. It kind of feels like I'm eating like some sort of soft cookie with a pudding on top in texture. And the flavor of the coconut meat is, it's like regular coconut, but milder. The woman who sold it to me suggested that I actually put sugar on it, which is something that a lot of people in the Philippines do that with fruit. They'll put sugar or condensed milk on fruit. I actually have some sugar here. I'm gonna put some raw sugar on this. mix that up. That is something special. That I've never had anything quite like this. It's reminded me of having like a coconut cream pie, but in a fruit. That sugar is very helpful. And, you know, it's kind of mild on its own, so putting sugar on this makes a lot of sense. And when you buy this in products, they add sugar, so you can get this like in a jar. You get certain sorts of sweets made from macapono, and when they do that, it's got sugar and maybe other flavorings and stuff in it. And I think that makes sense, because this is something that the flavor is a little underwhelming, but the texture of it is incredible. And just the botany of it, like what's going on here, is incredible. I also bought a regular coconut. I want to see just like how it looks side by side. So here you can see the regular coconut. We got maybe ½ inch of meat to it, and that meat is pretty firm. And it's kind of hard for me to do this without losing the coconut, but yeah, it's not easy to scrape the inside of a coconut. Then we've got the macapono. It's 3/4 of the size, and the meat on the outside here is quite soft. This one not so much. Got some of the regular coconut. Nutty, fatty, sweet, no tartness. Sweetness on that, I mean, it's not super high. I mean, you've had a coconut, you know how sweet it is. It's maybe like a 3 or 4, something like that. But the main difference, of course, is that it's crunchy. You know, it's really hard. Now, the macapono, very easy to scoop up. Yeah, less sweetness. Not by a lot, but a little bit less. Like it's more like a 2 or something. It might just be the ones that I have, but the coconut here, which I don't think is a especially flavorful regular coconut, it has more flavor than the macapono. Well then, I am back in New York City, and as you can see, the footage is a lot better now. That is because I am now using my camera, and when I was in the Philippines, my battery died, so I was using my phone. I want to add one more thing about macapono. Macapono products. See, I think this is an important thing to talk about, because macapono, the coconut, is not super common. Like a lot of people in the Philippines have not had it. It's not like a super common thing, but products using it are. So I have 2 products today. I have macapono ice cream, and I have macapono strings. I actually was kind of skeptical about these. I've seen this stuff around, and I just assumed there's no way that they're actually using macapono. Macapono is rare. They must be using coconut and just saying it's macapono. No, they go through the trouble of actually saying in the ingredients that is coconut sport. Not coconut, coconut sport. And this ice cream company actually has a coconut ice cream also, which they call buko. So they have macapono ice cream and buko ice cream. So there's a distinction. So the question is, why? The ice cream is self-explanatory, but what is this for? In the Philippines, a very, very popular dessert is halo halo, which is like shaved ice and a lot of different like bits of candied fruit and stuff like that. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. And I believe this is something that you might put in there, or put into a different sort of dessert where you want a nice sweet topping to it. So I'm not going to go through the trouble of making halo halo, but I am going to do this. Well, this might be the most indulgent thing I've ever eaten. Macapono ice cream with macapono strings on top of it. I mean, that is really tasty. That's really, really good. I don't know if you were to give this to somebody that they would know it was different than just coconut ice cream, but
Yeah, the Macapono ice cream does have little shreds of Macapono in it. I know I added the strings on top, but there are also little shreds mixed in with the ice cream, and those are maybe a little bit chewier than regular coconut. So there's a difference there in just the texture of it. The coconut flavor is mild, and I think that maybe is not a bad thing. It tastes a little bit like if you were to mix coconut ice cream with vanilla ice cream. It's like a little bit lighter in flavor, but it's also very sweet and rich and good. And the coconut sport strings that I added to this, I'm mostly getting texture from that. It doesn't have the texture of coconut. It's a little bit chewier. So it is a little bit different, but honestly, it's not very different. But it is delicious. There's no getting around that. I think I could see somebody having a preference for this. The most interesting thing about Macapono is the Macapono itself. Not the products, but the actual Macapono. It is like so wild. It's such a cool thing. You know, it's kind of a shame that it is difficult to find those. But the fact that there are products using it, you know, even though it's not like hugely different than regular coconut, the fact that this has kind of helped preserve that very, very rare fruit is pretty cool. So yeah, if you are in the Philippines, keep your eyes open, see if you can find a fresh Macapono. If not, there are lots of products out there, definitely worth picking up. So I think that's about it. Thank you very much, everybody. I will see you all next time. I would like to give a big shout out to Smarter Every Day, Bill T. and Joseph McCorkle. They are mega patrons over on patreon.com. To everyone watching who is interested in learning more about how you can support the channel and also get some really cool rewards in return, like early access to videos, exclusive videos, there's over 100 of those. There's even a level where I will send you things in the mail. You gotta check it out, so I will put some information in the description below.